There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. A dimension of sound.
For the 158th time, you are not getting out of here. Please let me finish the Count of Monte Cristo.
A dimension of sight.
No change at all.
What? I think I look fine.
A dimension of mind. Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. I am your raspy voice, Nick, your commentator, your host, whatever you want to call it. It's the week of Christmas, the week of most people celebrate Christmas. So if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. Whether we'll be back the next week, we'll haven't decided yet, but we'll figure that out here in a second or after we finish recording. But today, as always, I'm joined by my two hitchhikers in my heart, which is Triv and Jacob. How you guys doing? Merry Christmas to you guys, by the way, because this will post Christmas week.
Happy raspy voice Christmas to you too.
I know, right?
Happy aspy voice or whatever she said to you.
voice.
By the way, since this is coming out, I guess before Christmas, that means my birthday is in 4 days. So
happy birthday!
Oh, your birthday is in 4 days?
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday!
Christmas
Happy
Eve.
birthday to you. You live in a zoo. You smell like a monkey and look like one too.
How'd you know?
Well, you know,
Happy birthday to you. Batman spells.
That's Jingle Bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. Batmobile broke his wheel. Sure.
Joker got away.
Is it Joker? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I don't know.
So we're back to talk more Twilight Zone. As always, if you like this video or you like any of our podcasts, hit that subscribe button. Well, don't hit the subscribe button because you're hitting it for me, but definitely comment, rate. If you listen to our audio feed, please hit that 5 stars. Please, subscribe to the podcasts on most of the normal feeds that you can find. But we're back.
Podcasts are still sold.
I know, right?
Not so.
And according to what we're if you have to like dig up dirt or maybe hitchhike, on the radio or something like that, there you go. But so
speaking of hitchhiking,
we talk. Yeah, speaking of
that's quite the link that you got going on there. I'm not sure I follow what we're talking about.
Segue there.
Yes, exactly. Your segue is got a flat tire. I'm thinking if that's a segue between.
Yeah.
I think we may need some like lube or something like that to lube up the podcast.
Wow. You can have that to yourself.
But if you can't gather what we're talking about, today we're talking about what I would consider bless you. Sorry, Hefe. Bless you. My eyeball.
I think there's
you have dry, cracked eyes.
You have dry eyes. I think I've got an eyelash in my eye. Bueller, dry eyes. He could be like the Triv, like the ones from
oh yeah, the Rastafarian eyes.
What the fuck was that movie? Freaked.
Yeah,
man, we rust eyeballs.
Oh my god, there was an eyeball in that, wasn't there?
There's 2 of them. They're smoking joints in their irises. They come in with machine guns, little.
They had like little Converse shoes. Like little Uzis and stuff. It was great.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Randy Quaid's eyes.
Yeah, back when Randy Quaid wasn't a total and utter crazy asshole.
I mean, at this point,
okay, more normal crazy asshole.
There you go.
At this point, Randy Quaid's like the most normal person in the United States at this juncture. So
are you sure?
He may have a point. He may have a point.
Have you not seen Jim Brewer recently?
Oh, that's true. That's true. I saw a Photoshop job where someone replaced his eyes with Prince Philip's eyes. That's pretty funny. Like, so like the Queen Elizabeth's husband, like he had like all kinds of shit wrong with him and his eyes were all kinds of funky, and they took Jim Brewer's eyes because they're kind of similar and they replaced them with his, and it was pretty good.
It didn't look any different.
Somebody I can't remember who it was, but somebody sent me a gif of like you can't handle the truth, but all of the Jack Nicholson's eyes are all like wobbly, like if you put those wobbly eyes on.
Oh,
where they're going like that.
The googly eyes.
Yeah, it's like bouncing back and forth. He's like, you can't handle this. Eyes are going over the fucking place. It's funny as hell. But with that said, we're actually not here to talk about you can't handle the truth. We're talking about probably, I don't know if you guys agree, and I'll ask you, what's your opinion, but I think this is to me one of the best episodes of the Twilight Zone period. It's very simple story. It has probably one of the most iconic endings in the series outside of like monsters that do on Maple Street and the Invaders and stuff like that. And that movie, excuse me, that episode we're gonna be talking about is season 1, episode 16, which is called The Hitchhiker. It's directed by Alvin Ganzer, written by Rod Serling, and apparently 8 hours or 6 hours, was it, Triv? Was that right?
You said 6.
Yeah, you said
I
6.
don't remember seeing where
It was in
that.
the companion. That's where I found it.
Oh, I didn't look at the companion.
Yeah.
I know Lucille Fletcher wrote the original radio play, and she was the wife
Yeah.
of Bernard Herrmann. But
Oh, I did not know that. So that's
Yep.
why they use the stock footage or stock music from Bernard Herrmann.
I'd just like to say that you guys did a lot more research than I did on this episode.
it's okay.
I mean,
I was a little late
Yeah.
getting to this one. I
all
watched
to be
it.
fair, I just watched the episode today, so I don't feel bad. But I've seen it many times before. But production code 173-3612, the 12th episode ever recorded, and it aired on January 22nd, 1960. Stars Inger Stevens as Nan Adams and Leonard Strong as the Hitchhiker, and the somewhat unhorny Andy Adam Williams as Sailor, and a couple other people. That was the most that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like the sailor just go, "Get away from me, crazy woman!" I'm like, I guess it was the 60s. I don't
I'm about
know,
to be
but-
deployed for like a year, but
Well, he
Oh,
didn't
crazy
have it.
woman.
He was away from his semen. That was the problem.
he's got standards, you know.
I
Yeah.
know. As long as
Sure.
Well,
you're
but you know
itemized-
what? You got to remember though the old adage about not sticking your dick in crazy.
It's hard to get rid of crazy.
Yeah,
Real hard.
Oh my god.
that's
So-
what she said.
I set him up.
Yes, you do. I tear him down.
Uh,
How does that work for a female though? Like don't let crazy stick in you. I don't even know how that would work.
Sure. Don't stick crazy in you.
Sure, we'll go
is
with
that
that.
is that what they call eye for an eye? Isn't that a movie?
I don't know.
Don't eye for an eye.
I got nothing. Are
What do you say,
talking about
Jeff? You know all about eyes.
brown eye or pink eye? I don't even
Oh.
know.
Crazy eye.
Brown eye. That's a whole different picture.
Yeah,
Jeff is not a
that's
part
true.
of it.
Oh my god. So, anyways,
I'll have to go get that
Starting
one off
out-
the internet. Hang on.
Yeah.
hey, I finally found something for the ending of the episode, so that's always
Oh
good.
God.
Pornhub.com images.
Wow, how do they
Oh,
do
man.
that with their face? Doesn't that hurt your back?
It can be done.
Yeah.
It has been documented.
All down to visual
man, I
effects.
think we've had too much eggnog.
Huh.
Too much no sleep eggnog.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you guys. I'm pretty sure, Triv, you've seen this episode before. Jacob,
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming you've seen this episode before. You know this episode pretty well. Well enough.
I honestly, I know I've seen it. Like I said before, I've seen all of them before, but no, this wasn't one I remembered when I first sat down to watch it. After watching it, I'm like, I kind of remember it. It was a good episode, but my one biggest takeaway from it was that the M. Night Shyamalan twist in the end, unfortunately, and this isn't something I hold against the episode. I guessed it because I did go into it kind of pseudo blind. I guessed what was going on to a degree, and I think it's only because probably of this episode. I don't know if it was the first one to do something like this, kind of like last week, where it was a pioneer of its time, but now it's been done so many times that you look for it. So when I'm watching it, I'm like, that's, there's been other things that are extremely similar to this.
Yeah.
Like total setup and everything. And I was like, yep, I bet it's this thing. And hey, it was. And that kind of sucks because I bet this was really original at the time. But since it's been ripped off so many times now, I was like, almost instantly, I was like, yeah, that's what's going on here. Because also part of the intro kind of gives it away too.
Yeah, there's several that you pay attention. It's like she says things like when she has the car being pulled into the shop, she says it's cheap, like whatever the price is, it's cheaper than a funeral. There was something about being dead right or something like that. There's a lot of like verbiage that kind of tips it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a
Yeah.
bad
Well, I
way,
mean,
just
you can see like from the very first moment of this episode, there's something kind of off about her and something off about the way she's playing the role. And it kind of just shows in just the way because there's a lot of voiceover narration in this episode too, and it's very prevalent. And you start questioning, like, why is she voiceovering herself? Like, I know this episode doesn't really have a lot of what you call plot or scene devices or set pieces.
It's her in a car on a road, basically.
Yeah. So it was very odd the way it started out. But you know,
did anybody else get Creep Show 2 vibes?
Well, yeah,
I know this
think
came
it's
first,
there's an homage,
but I just
the
wanted that
Hitchhiker.
guy to say thanks for the ride, lady, one time, and I would have been
That
happy.
would've been I will say I got who was the guy from the 30s? He was German. He did a lot of like horror movies. The hell's his name?
Bela
Diana.
Lugosi?
No, it's a different guy. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant, but he kind of reminded me of this guy a bit. Crap, he did like Mad Love. Peter Lorre. He looks like Peter Lorre a bit.
Yeah, well, from what I'm remembering, Peter Lorre looking like, yeah, a little bit.
That was really
Yeah, this
random
guy's
and
an
not
all-
worth the payoff. But, you know.
No, I know who Peter Lorre is. I just don't remember the roles that he was in because I'm not real familiar with that movie you're talking about. That's my fault though. I should know.
That's okay.
I'm very.
No,
I have
it's
issues
fine.
with the movies from the 30s where I don't know a lot of them. So
Well, it's okay. That's
It's a
kind of
difficult
my.
time in Nick's life. He blocks it out.
I know.
Maybe
Damn
he's
you
84 years
30s.
old. He's, I guess he wouldn't have even been born if you were 84.
Geez, here we go again.
Yep. Hey,
So-
you brought it up, man. It was in your bio.
I know.
84.
It
What?
is.
Yeah, it's a running joke thing that Nick is actually 84 years old.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
You look great.
Yeah. I know, right?
One
man.
interesting thing talking about the way this movie is going. Shortly before the taping of this episode, Inger Stevens, who played Nan, attempted suicide by swallowing
Really?
25 sleeping pills and ammonia. And
Holy
then she
smokes.
actually then she died at like 35, which was in 1970, so about 10 years later, by I think asphyxiation or something. So
Damn.
yeah.
How did she not die from chugging ammonia and and 25 pills?
Who the hell knows? Oh, and in 1961, she was the last passenger to leave a jet that crashed on landing and exploded as soon as she left. So she was like a bad
that-
bitch with that in the background.
She's like the
Is that where?
Unbreakable guy.
Is that where Rod Serling got that episode from? From that fucking nightmare episode?
I mean, maybe.
Oh my god!
Telling you, she's the original Unbreakable guy, and apparently her weakness was breathing
Yeah, exactly.
or something. I don't know.
Oh my god!
That didn't
That's
work
hilarious.
out.
Was so bad. Just-
Her
her
weakness
weakness
Just the 70s.
was it was the 70s.
No,
Oh my god!
it was April of the 70s, so it's even worse.
This is true. So anyway, back to the Hitchhiker. So this episode opens up with Nan Adams, who's 27. She's driving from Manhattan. She gets a blowout at 65 miles an hour, according to her the mechanic. And this is where the opening narration happens. So I'll let you go on with the reading of that.
Yes, sir. Her name is Nan Adams. She's 27 years old. Her occupation, buyer at a New York department store. At present, on vacation, driving cross country to Los Angeles, California from Manhattan. Minor incident on Highway 11 in Pennsylvania. Perhaps to be filed under accidents you walk away from. But from this moment on, Nan Adams' companion on a trip to California will be terror. Her route, fear. Her destination, quite unknown.
They're
Or
good
the
stuff.
Twilight Zone.
Bravo.
I know, right? Can you imagine being on the road, blowout tire, and then being
65.
stalked?
Ooh.
Yeah, 65, and being stalked by some weirdo. Hey, good times,
That
man.
happens to me every Tuesday.
Yeah, that's at least monthly. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
See, Nick, you just don't have that because you're 85 years old or 84 years old.
I know, right?
you're gonna blow out
I
with
was
your
around
walker.
That's right. Hey kids,
What did
get
you,
off my
blow
damn
out there?
lawn. So this episode opens up with basically she's getting her tire fixed. She's having the mechanic, I think, take her to the station. And I put because it was very obvious. She's totally checking out the truck driver. Probably wants his man meat. You know,
Oh, God.
she's just.
She just
it
tried
looks
to
like
kill
she's like.
herself.
She has a
I
smile.
mean-
She's like. No, she has a smile on her face. She's like.
Really,
Mhm.
that
Well,
was her
she's-
smile right there.
That
Okay,
was
good
Yeah,
to
that
she's
know.
was it. I thought that was a clip from the show.
I mean, it's pretty real to life, I'll tell you.
Mhm.
I know,
That is
right?
exactly
But
what it
no.
looked like. And he calls her yogurt arms or yogurt shoulders or something like that. Or whatever he's, I don't know. He said something like that. I didn't know what the that meant, but yeah, yogurt arm, or I don't remember. You guys probably pay closer attention.
I completely missed that.
He said, "Yeah,
I mean,
yogurt shouldered woman out here going 65. You're lucky to be alive." I don't know. I could be making all that up.
I mean,
Well,
he
no, I
talks
mean,
about how
she-
bad how people like there's no shoulder, like there's like it's soft shoulders.
Oh, maybe I don't
The
know.
roads were soft shoulders, I think, because he was describing the conditions of the road.
Or maybe that's what he's saying.
They were basically conditions that you could easily like take your car off the road and flip it.
Look, Triv, I was hearing this thing the way I wanted to, and I liked it.
I mean, you're
You come
welcome
in
to
here and
call
just
her.
ruin it.
You know what? If you want to call someone yogurt shoulders and see what the reaction is, please feel free.
I like it. I mean, you liver lips, yogurt shouldered bastard.
I mean, she talks about being a little mousy. So I mean, hey,
Yeah.
what do you know?
Yeah, I'll suck you in the puss, you crumb bum.
Well, if you're gonna sock a yogurt shouldered woman in the puss, I think that might be a little different.
That's going. Hey, it was the 60s. That's going in the lexicon, by the way. Yogurt shoulders.
It's not yogurt shoulders. That was not a thing.
I'm gonna rewatch it to see. I'm pretty sure he said yogurt shoulders.
I will bet you $5 that he did not say yogurt shoulders.
It is in the lexicon as of right now.
Well, shit.
I have an asterisk next to it to see if
Oh,
if
God.
he's said she had
you-
yogurt shoulders.
You double check that shit and you report back.
I will. I'll look
Good.
right now.
You sure it wasn't yogurt and pork shoulder recipe?
Oh God.
What the? Oh shit! This is the wrong This is the wrong episode. What is? Oh, this is the older episodes. Never mind. Oh my. Here we go. The Hitch Hiker. Oh, here it is, right here. Oh yeah, she is looking at him like that. You weren't lying. She's just like,
I'm telling you, she's all over him. I mean, even when they get to the
Jake
gas
did it
station,
better.
she's like,
minor incident.
oh my god, this episode's gone way off the rails.
The
Good
next time
times.
you guys go to visit your mechanic, you have to give
Okay,
him those.
here it
looks.
is. Here it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
Thank you.
Slightly.
Oh God.
Shoulders like pudding.
They're talking about the fucking road.
I don't give a fuck. It's her shoulders. She's got pudding shoulders. It's in the lexicon.
Oh, for
Shoulders
okay.
like pudding.
Okay, you know what? Fine. Fuck you and your pudding shoulders.
Fuck my what? Okay, so I don't know where I got yogurt from, but whatever. Shoulders like pudding. I like it. You know what? Whenever I rattle all this shit off, nobody's gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about anyway, so
No.
it doesn't matter. It almost sounds like an insult. You got shoulders like pudding.
That is basically an insult, I think. Oh
You
my
crumb
God.
bum. You're gonna get the dirty end of the stick.
I feel like I was born under a bad zodiac.
Well, jump to the
I was
moon.
born under I was born under wrong pudding shoulders apparently.
Wrong.
Okay,
Wrong
just
pudding
because
shoulders.
these exist does not mean you can mad lib them into some kind of order.
You're just saying that because you got shoulders like pudding.
Well, I probably do. I don't work out enough.
You got pudding shoulders.
Better than Jello shoulders. Or you know,
Apparently, when you sock them in the post, you get pudding shoulders. Your shoulders get pudding.
as long as you don't have Jello pudding pop shoulders.
Oh my god!
Suck you in the push and you get shoulders like pudding.
Back to the episode. So he goes to the service station with the mechanic, and it costs her a whole $29 for everything. And I'm like, if she had paid him like $30, she probably would have gotten a little 69 service. So I mean, it would have been a little nicer for her. She would have gotten out of there. She probably wouldn't have seen that.
Okay,
wacky,
but it wouldn't have been
wackadoodle
nice.
guy.
It
Might have
wouldn't
got
have been
two
nice
tires.
for the mechanic. Are you saying that it all had to be on her end? The 69 action?
I mean,
Her
she
end?
did see a lube sign or like later on the episode. So I mean, anything's possible.
Oh, for God's-
A lubrication
Okay.
sign.
Yeah,
And
she
considering
was
where
young
it
enough.
goes,
I don't think lube was a problem for her. If anything, it's the guy that would have a hard time doing his business.
considering where the episode goes, would it be kind of like a Ghostbuster situation with Dan Aykroyd in that part? You know the part.
Probably.
The part.
Oh yeah, how could you
mean,
not know the part?
She wouldn't
It's
need
the best part of
lube.
the
She's
movie.
probably got ectoplasm.
Oh God.
She slimed me.
Oh my god.
I used that on someone the other day. It was pretty great.
All
There's an
right.
ectoplasm on a guy.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god. Wonderful Christmas episode we're providing people.
Just
God.
plasm. juice.
Quality family entertainment.
Back to the story that we're never gonna get through apparently. Because it'd be like 4 hours long.
Kangaroo.
This is Nick's like favorite episode, and he's like, "Shut the fuck up."
Well, jump into it. It's not like we're stopping you from going.
I think we are.
No.
Yeah, sort of. No, we're stopping him from.
It's like, why did I
So-
ask them to come on here?
It could be worse, trust me. It could be real worse. So she sees the hitchhiker for like the first time in the mirror, and then she turns around, he's not there. So she asks the mechanic if he saw the hitchhiker. He's like, who? It's like the guy back there. Oh, he must have gotten a ride or whatever. Then shit.
We're never gonna get through this. He said.
So the woman drives off, and this is where we see the hitchhiker again, and he looks at the camera like the Indian guy from the commercial back in the 80s.
Yeah,
I was waiting for the tear to
Single
come
tear.
down. Yeah, but this is where we start getting.
You've got to put
This is
that
where we start getting.
insert in here.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, you're gonna have to create a tier for me, Trev.
Why is it up to me to do that shit?
I don't know. But at this point, we get the voiceover. She starts talking through most of the rest of the episode where she's kind of like voicing over her thoughts and about this guy that's stalking her. She says a little mousy. She even stops at a restaurant, asks the restaurant worker if he gets many hitchhikers. And I'm like, what his response? I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Because he's like, not many hitchhikers, very rare on the turnpike. I'm like, weren't the turnpikes very popular for hitchhikers? I didn't understand what was going on, but
It'd be
At
crazy
that
to
point, they
hitchhike.
were?
You seen hitchers? Let us know. That'd be crazy out here. Hitchhikers
Well,
on the
That's
road.
when
Oh my god. it's
Robert Stack
insanity.
pops up.
You know, it's probably, but the reasoning for it, like they were probably trying to harken back to what is ultimately the end message of this thing, because they say it's flat and long. Oh, God. I'm
Mm.
sorry. There's no speed, like there's a speed limit, but people don't really pay attention to it. There's no curves, so if you pull over, and I'm sure the shoulders are like pudding, so you're probably not built to take like those kinds of, like, you know, you pull over but you're not actually pulled over, you're still on the road, and you know, someone's gonna smack your ass because they can't stop.
Did you pull over or pull out?
Bull.
I'll tell you who didn't was that sailor.
Oh, we're getting to him. Trust me.
Eventually.
So,
Oh my God.
so she's thinking about how it'll be good to stop driving at some point, and then she goes, she hates these, or she goes, I hate this car. The only thing I could think about was he hates these cans because she hates the car so much. You know, it was just that's all I could think about. But she stops at a construction site and she sees a hitchhiker behind her, and he holds out his hand to, like, you know, say I'm going west or whatever, and she like freaks out. I'm like, this construction, yeah, she's doing like this. She's like, she's like, she anyway.
I kept
but
thinking of
she-
Pee
she
Wee
freaks
Herman
out-
and Pee Wee's
know.
Big Adventure with a big thumb.
Oh God. You could use your dick hand for that too. From Freaked.
But she has this construction site is not very well put together because apparently she can just drive around the construction site and and just like fly past the construction guard and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah, she's just like flying through there like it's an action movie.
Yeah, basically.
exactly.
Well,
With
she was
the-
going 65 when she got initially when her tire blew out. So
Yeah.
Apparently she can't drive 65.
can she drive 64?
she can't drive 65 or 55.
Now with the mechanic, could she drive 69?
I don't know. She paid the extra $1. She probably could have.
Yeah, probably.
Normally for service like that, you got to pay double.
So, anyways,
What do you think, Jeff?
oh my god, this is Oh shit. Oh man, I guess that
Welcome to the
concept
fifth
really works.
dimension, a shit show of the mind.
That
Welcome to the
concept's really
fifth
working right
dimension,
now.
a sex podcast.
Welcome to the fifth dimension where we drive you into number 5.
Dimension where we talk about pudding shoulders.
She has a freak out, she drives off, freaking her out, stuff like that. And every time she drives, the hitchhiker is always near her.
Did you say that she had a freak in her ass?
I may
That's
have. I don't
just
know.
what you heard.
The hitchhiker is always near her, which is good times. And then she somehow drives onto a train track and just sits there. And then the train never seems to come. Shut up. The train never seems to come close to her. So she's just constantly like doing the Monty Python thing where the guy's just constantly coming towards her, but never actually gets to the location. So she's just trying to start up the car and just doesn't start. And the train's just like slowly moving towards her, like, in Austin Powers. And then she finally backs it up and the train makes a kazoo noise as it
I'm
passes.
glad
Like,
you
So
said
weird.
That. I'm glad you- But can we rewind just
Yes,
like
please,
2
please.
seconds?
we can go
She's
back
on
like
the-
30 minutes if we have to.
This is if we go back 30 minutes, we're back on pudding shoulders. But
Oh,
this
God.
is anytime. How many movies, shows, media have we seen where people they get stuck in their car, or not stuck in their car? They're on their car gets stuck on train tracks. There's a fucking train coming
Mhm.
at them, and they're like, big train. This is the time. They keep on and on and on. I'm like, get the f- out of the car. Just open the door and walk 2 feet to the left. What the
The
fuck are
be-
you doing?
The best video I've ever seen is there's a dude in a car, like a live video. There's a dude stuck in the middle of the road or in the middle of the train tracks, and he's waving at the train to stop. He's like, slow down. And the train's like, I'm like 6,000 pounds. I ain't gonna be slowing down for nothing. And it crashes right through the damn vehicle.
Stop.
And the person's just like, no, slow down. I'm like,
I mean, I know it's your car and all, and
force.
that sucks, but if you're dead, what does it matter? Get out of the car, Jesus.
Between that and quicksand, I thought I'd run into both of those a lot more in my adult life based on movies.
Yeah, but admittedly, because of movies for a solid 10 years of my life, I lived like I had to cross train tracks when I'd leave my neighborhood
Mhm.
every day. Every time I passed them, I was afraid that my car was going to stall right there in the middle of the
Oh,
fucking
no.
train tracks. No matter what car I was driving, if I crossed train tracks, I always cross them fast because I'm like, I've seen this one too many times in movies. I'm gonna get stuck. And while I say get out and walk away, I will be that guy who's like, come on, it's gonna start with this. Come on.
That and horror movies make cars not start.
Yeah. But anyway, her started and she
Yeah.
got out just in the nick of the time
Yeah, the
as
last
the big
moment.
kazoo train came by.
Zoo Express.
It was like the most like stock footage train I've ever seen in my entire life. But
It
it was
didn't even sound like a train. It was just like a weird.
no.
I've never heard a train sound like that. And I live in a town where there's like a train every like 15 minutes.
I was just waiting for the canned laughter to start up. You're like, ah.
Or like the
Wah,
Seinfeld,
wah.
like, or like the
Yeah.
Seinfeld outro.
I checked myself.
But
Yeah.
she basically feels like that the man wants her to die, and she's having a nightmare of being alone. I'm like, I have a nightmare of being alone all the time. Doesn't mean I want somebody to die.
It might.
I mean, it may. I
Maybe.
mean, this voice will not go away. So I mean,
Did she ever actually stop? Like, I do question, like, because she talks about how much she had been driving across country. And I know eventually they say how long her trip was, but like,
it was 6 days. It was gonna. It says at the end 6 days.
yeah, exactly.
Been on the
But
road
it's
for
like
6
she
days.
never, like, she probably never stopped driving that entire time.
I just wonder at what point she was gonna start questioning how this. She says it like later on the episode, but I start questioning. I'm like, if I saw the same guy over and over and over, wouldn't I start questioning the reality I'm living in? Like I was like, you're freaking out and you're doing all those things. And it reminds me, a lot of movies that deal with that particular scenario, maybe they don't realize what's happening. But it was weird because like she visits all these people and we'll find out later they, whatever, but it was,
they
it was a
real?
weirdly.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, that's what I thought.
Are
like,
they in the same situation she is?
Well, that's what the sailor thing. That's where my thing about the sailor. But before we get to all that, the first act ends like right there, and I have to ask you guys, did you enjoy the first act? I mean, we've been joking around and messing around about putting on shoulders, but did you guys like the episode up to that point?
Yeah, I think so. It piques your interest because I mean, it has the same amount of driving as like Birdemic. So given that, it's kind of the same thing. They tried to break it up the best they could. They tried to add suspense, and they did a pretty decent job. I think they did the best they could with like the way that the story was laid out. But yeah, I thought it offered some good suspense and was a good overall first half.
Even though, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I feel like a douche saying that because I said it last week. Because I figured it out way in advance.
But you saw the signs. That's not bad.
And like I said, I think it had a lot to do with how this has been copied since. But even going into it feeling pretty confident, I think this is what's going on. I still did enjoy it. And there's not really a lot, especially as far as locales. It's mainly just in her car and, on the side of the road.
Last week's episode.
Yeah, it's not a single location episode, but it almost is kind of like it. Most of it takes place in her car. And I thought that's where I think the narration, I know we were joking about it, but I think the narration was actually good because she's by herself. So it wouldn't make sense if she was just like talking aloud. So she had this narration. We got to hear what she was thinking, and that kind of kept it interesting. And it just made the single location really work. So I was enjoying it up to that point, even though I kind of sort of thought it was going on, but I thought it was well made. And the way doing something like that, where it's like such a limited amount of locations that you're using and it's so centralized to one, sometimes can be really hard. Not that they still kept it interesting and had your gears turning. And even though I was thinking that, like, oh, I think I know what's up, it still had my gears turning, thinking, okay, if that's not it, what else is? And that's usually a sign of a good show like this, or a good episode, when you're trying to figure it out and you're thinking of all the million different things it could possibly be.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get into episodes like 5 strangers trying to find an exit or something like that. Where
that's a great episode.
And if you can't, he had no idea what's gonna hit you at the very end. But this episode, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Trip, by the way, but if you think about this episode, it is pretty clear that there's something at work here that seems off. And if you really think about it, you can kind of justify, kind of deduce what's going to happen just on the perspective of just how weird this episode gets. But I overall, just like I said, I really like this. This is an episode that would be like straight up one of the first episodes you would see on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, just for the simple fact of what it is and how popular it is. But what were you getting ready to say, Triff?
I was just going to say, and I mean, obviously we know Serling knows how to write and write well, but she talks about, like, she kind of describes the guy as like wispy and like just shabby and stuff. But then she describes her fear of what's going on because she knows that there's something not right. She describes the fear as vague, the way the hitchhiker is vague. And I thought like lines like that were really cool in this particular episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. His writing's really descriptive.
Yeah.
I know I talk about Stephen King a lot because I think his writing is really descriptive like that too. He can take Serling could too. You take a fairly simple act and really put some words to it that just really make you truly visualize it. He could describe something in just really just very descriptive terms that sounds really derivative, but I mean just really make you see something. By the way, he was a great, what do they call it, word artist. That sounds really basic,
but
you know what I mean.
Wordsmith.
He was a champion of the vernacular, so you now sound a little smarter.
But it also gives me a little bit of vibes of the opening to Psycho, just with her traveling and just kind of like how paranoid she becomes. Because it really is, it's about paranoia a little bit. If you think about it, about her fears and paranoia about what's going on. And this guy's like an individual that, it's not really what she thinks, but you get the gist that like she's going to be murdered or raped or something by this guy because he's so weird. He doesn't talk. And
you gotta wonder. You mentioned Psycho, and I got that vibe early when it first started, especially. I was like, yeah, this is kind of Psycho-esque because the beginning of Psycho with her driving. You got to wonder because they both came out around the same time. I think Psycho came out. Well, I guess Psycho probably would have come out after this. I don't know, the same year.
Psycho
right?
came out later,
like 64. Yeah.
60 no, it was 60, I think.
It is 1960.
Yeah,
September.
So it would have been in progress at that point.
Yeah. So okay, I was gonna say, maybe do you think maybe they took any inspiration from it, but no, if it came out,
Well, it was
know it's
based
based on a
off of, I
book.
mean, actually the inspiration for this particular, okay, so Psycho came out September 8th. The actual inspiration for this came from, so her name was Lucille Fletcher, and her husband were driving down the road and they saw a hitchhiker, and then however far down the road they saw another guy that looked just like him, and it struck her as incredibly eerie. So then she wrote a radio play. Initially, the character of Nan was played by a guy, but
Yeah, I
Rod
read that.
Serling thought it would be better for it to be played by a lady.
Yeah, he said
And-
she'd be more people would be more sympathetic or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, she wasn't married to Bernard Herrmann for very long, but I mean, he of course he did the score for Psycho, so
Mhm.
there could be some things in there too. But
Yeah.
um,
Because it wasn't
Yeah.
really what was happening. They are
yeah.
tonally they're different, but well, not tonally. They're story narratively they're different. But that, especially those opening scenes with the woman driving, there was a lot. If you took those two opening scenes to this one, and well, not the opening scene, but shortly after the opening scene of this and Psycho's opening, they are very similar in tone and feel.
I mean,
Very true.
to be fair, driving without Google Maps or something like that is very terrifying. So I understand the fear that she had. So
That's what I was thinking a minute ago when you guys were talking about
Like-
that. I was like, you guys were like, I mean, how do you not think it's odd? Something's going on with reality when you pass the same guy. I was like, I would be thinking something was wrong with my GPS because I get lost going to the bathroom. So I would be like, am I just doing circles? I wouldn't be thinking about that guy. Plus, I don't even pay attention to what's around me. People always talk about that. So I wouldn't even notice him. We saw that guy 15 times. I'd be those people that are like, what guy? Who are you talking about? He could be standing right next to me.
like, I'm just trying to do my duty to
Yeah.
pee, and this guy's standing right next to me. I'm like, okay, maybe he has to pee too. I don't know.
It
But
happens. People show up in the bathroom, pat
Yeah,
him on the ass.
exactly.
Good game. Well, that's what you're working
This
with.
is
Good job. Hey, good on
probably
you.
this is kind of a random thing, but like the fact that she basically didn't stop driving, like, and obviously it's a 25-minute show, so you're not going to see her like stopping to pee and sleep and eat and all that stuff. But if you ever saw the movie Rotor, it's a low budget one, but basically this chick is pursued by this cop or this robot cop guy, kind of like Terminator, but she can't stop, and she's running low on gas and she's running on fumes, and they build the panic really well, and they I don't know if it had any, like, took any inspiration from this, but it kind of had that vibe, because at one
Word.
point she is out of gas.
I know the movie Rubber about a tire that kills
The
people.
tire.
Well, that's
The
also a
telepathic
good
tire.
movie. This is R.O.T.O.R.
Sounds familiar,
Yeah,
actually.
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it, or at least you've heard about it.
Probably. I've seen a lot of movies.
Have you? No,
Rotor.
come on,
Just a couple. Just a few.
just a couple. Yeah.
So we return back from our first act. She's driving through a tunnel. She sees a man. She talks about how she's been driving for 3 days, stops for food, then drives. I'm like, sounds like a road trip to me back when I was a young kid. Drive for 3 days, stop for food, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stop for
window.
food?
Yeah. Sometimes you stop at a gas station, get some combos.
Yeah.
Good
My
times.
parents brought a cooler with like ham and cheese in it. We were
Same.
poor.
Yeah.
They're like, make a sandwich. Have an RC.
With the
Cola.
Wonder Bread.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
We
even
didn't
like
have Wonder
cola.
Bread.
I don't like sodas. Drink it.
You'll
Sitting
drink it
there.
and you'll like it.
Then don't drink. I don't care. I grew up in the 80s. Parents were hardcore.
They were.
Maybe salt tablets.
Oh,
You know, just drink or don't. I don't care. Just don't die.
yeah, exactly. Gotta pee, stick it out the window.
Yeah,
Been there.
there you go.
There's a
got
bottle under the
stories.
seat.
No, Bob's
It-
bad idea. I got stories.
But she drives down a side road in the middle of the night for some reason. Oh, I guess hoping to lose a hitchhiker and worry about not having gas. I guess she runs out of gas. I don't know. This is a weird story. And she somehow like walks down the road and decides she's gonna knock on some guy's window with a lubrication sign in the front of his building. And
It's,
he,
it's
like,
a gas station, you dork.
It's
They
a
lived
lubrication
on
line.
site. Yes,
I
it is.
did
but
think
Dear
That
God.
was odd. They did not go far enough. Like when she first approached this place to explain to us that this is the guy who runs the gas station. She just Prior
she
to
starts
that
knocking on the
conversation.
window.
Back
He's
in
like-
the day, it would have made sense.
He opens up the window. He's like, "What the hell do you want?"
What are you
He's like, I
doing?
need some gas. I'm like, "You have enough gas. Go away."
There's somebody following me. There's a crazy man following me. Well,
Then I'll call the
if he
cops.
shows up again, come back and let me know, and we'll call the cops. Maybe. The fuck.
He was a
He's like,
real
I said-
bitch.
Yeah, he's like, "I said good day." He shuts the window.
Say, good day, man.
And
And
that's
then
when
we get to the best part of the show.
Yeah.
yeah, that's when penisless sailor man
What?
pops up out of
Why
nowhere.
did penisless? Where did that come from?
Because he didn't bang the shit out of her. That's why. I don't care what year it is. She was
Okay.
giving him vibes.
Okay. What about the?
She
the-
literally says, God.
I was kind of surprised. She was like, hey, you can just stay here, please.
What about not sticking your dick in crazy? I thought that was a code thing among guys.
Dude, I know people who have been in the Navy that are willing to do things that are crazy. Trust me, I know for a fact.
Like shoving a jar up your ass.
That's only in Germany they do this shit, okay?
Have we not watched Full Metal Jacket? They are
Okay,
willing-
look at the cut of his jib. Like he's like, wearing a sailor costume at like 2
Cut
in
of
the
his jib.
morning.
Yeah, where does he come
How do you know
from?
he's cut?
I don't
his
know.
jib. Okay. What? I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna lie. I was going somewhere
Basically,
else with
it means that he's a good-looking guy and his
Gotcha.
suit is sharp.
it. Where's the lexicon? Hang on a second.
Yeah, he's like the cut of his jib.
The real question is where does he even come from? Like I'm like sitting here going, this guy just walked in and he talks about how his feet are like hot bricks, and then he just like,
At least his penis isn't a hot brick.
No.
well, he's penisless because he doesn't ask the woman out. But
Well,
no, but he
every
goes up
man,
and-
every man before 1985 was basically smooth down there.
I know. Have you seen Pleasantville?
Yeah, I'd have.
Mhm,
When
mhm.
they're like, hey, there's nothing down there. But no, he carries the
Like a
gas over
Kindle.
to the car. Yeah, exactly. But he carries the gas over to the car, helps her out, which is fine. He gets in the car, he's just literally like right up on her. He's like, and he's
Yeah, I
talking to
really-
her. I'm like, this dude is straight up macking on this woman.
I thought he was a
and-
rapist. I thought he was
I thought the same thing. I thought he was gonna
I
straight
thought he
up,
was
like,
death.
Now I will say this is when
probably was.
my idea about the show, I started thinking, I was like, maybe it's actually the hitchhiker guy is, trying to get her away from a bad situation that's going to happen, kind of like the episode with the old man and I got what you need or whatever it was. I was like, maybe that's what it is, because this guy like keeps like beckoning to her, and maybe he's trying to get her on a different path because now she's with the sailor guy and he's going to rape her. But it's the 60s and the TV show. I don't think there's going to be rape.
You
Maybe they'll
just give
imply
her
it.
his semen.
Yeah, instead she'll try and rape him.
There you go.
and that's what she tries. She's like, please stay in the car with me, because he's freaking out. He's like, I need to get out of here. He's like, I'll tell you what, I'll get this letter itemized for you or whatever it is, and you'll tell him that you're with me. And then he's like, oh,
Oh,
you're
that
gonna
was
stay with me
before.
and I'll date you and blah blah blah. And I'm like, damn, this woman is desperate. And this
The-
guy
It
is
was,
the-
it was
no-
heavy-handed.
The notarized letter thing was from before, when he's like, oh, they'll never believe that I ran into a lady and
Oh,
she
yeah,
picked me
yeah.
up. That's what
We
that
don't
was
believe-
from.
We don't believe it either,
And-
because it's like the middle of the night. You just showed up
Yeah.
on your hot brick feet. But no, like
I know.
she goes from
Ing-
like she goes from like, oh please stay, to just like she stops it, and there's this pause when she says, I really like you, that's why I invited you in the car.
Oh God.
I
Yeah.
really like you. And it waits a minute and you're like, where is this going? I thought maybe we could go on a date. No, Rod, you wrote that pause in there on purpose. You knew what everybody was thinking. I don't care what year it is. All the men sitting at home with the family watching the Twilight Zone that night were like, plowed them
And,
fields.
Inger Stevens, may she rest in peace. She's an attractive woman in this episode. So I mean,
yeah,
I
very.
don't see. It's just like maybe he's like, yeah, maybe I can go over to like Vietnam or something and find something a little less crazy. I don't know exactly what happened, but it was a really weird segment.
He's a stand-up guy, man, for real.
He's just like, I'm gonna run and you're gonna drive off somewhere, and
Mm-mm.
it's funny too because like it's actually was Rod Serling, was he in the Navy?
I think so.
He's in the military. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember which branch either.
Because I thought it was always funny because they actually mentioned San Diego, which is where they actually port from in the Navy, which I thought was a pretty good realistic approach. She's like, I'll drive you to San Diego and
I'll
me
drive
my
you right up to
girlfriend
the
just-
dock.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
don't leave.
you can kiss
I'll
me and
ride
I'll
your
let
dock.
you kiss me. Yeah, exactly.
I'll
Like,
ride your
you
dock
for
all the way to the dock.
yeah, I'll ride you for hours. I'm telling you. Just save me from
Well,
this creepy old man that keeps following me.
well, you know that the cars back then were so friggin' big. You know, you could
Dude.
have set up housekeeping in that back seat
The
with room
back
to
seat's
spare.
like a king size bed.
It is.
Man, they could have done all kinds of. Oof, yeah.
Yeah, you could have tons of fun back there.
Man, this episode would have gone real different if it was me.
So
I imagine
you
that
see
would
why
be
I
most
ca-
of these episodes.
So you see why I call this like the greatest episode ever?
Yeah, I mean, this part is the most perplexing part of all.
Yeah.
It's like what that guy, because that guy she was laying it on thick.
And she was desperate as hell.
Yes, desperate. And I mean, seriously, I know I'm sounding kind of chauvinist or whatever you want to call it now, but I don't know many just sailor, like military guys, especially, or even people, just a hitchhiker nowadays that aren't going to at least entertain that idea, whether it goes down or not. I don't know many that are going to be like, hey, I got to go. You're fucking crazy. I mean, I feel like it's more of a, you're fucking crazy, but man, you're hot. We're out here in the middle of nowhere. I mean, maybe you can go afterwards.
Well, the thing is, we never, and obviously we get the context of what's in front of us, and it was the 60s, so they were never going to say, you're good looking, but I'm not going to bang you because you're 5 shades of crazy. You know, they're never going to do that back then. So,
Man, yeah.
The best part, she tells him that he needs a good night's sleep. She pulls over to a motel.
just to make a phone call and not actually to sleep.
Well, that's the best part. We think she's gonna pull over to like sleep because that would make sense. But we'll talk about the ending now because we're almost there. But this is where we get the Sixth Sense ending, where she calls her mom on like those old school like KSR 555 numbers or whatever. And
Trafalgar, blah blah blah.
yeah, which is always I always love that kind of use of calling people. I think that was the way they did it back then. But
yeah, I was what she said that I was like, what'd she say? And then like she went and said it again. I was like, is that her address? I mean,
yeah,
I grew up with rotary phones, but I don't remember this shit. By the way, real quick, I know I don't want to break it up too much, but Rod Serling was in the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
He was in the Army, and then he was in the Air Force.
Cool.
Which is French, but because he wanted to, he was a Jew, and he looked forward to fighting the Nazis in Europe.
Nice. Good for him.
Makes
So
a lot
yeah, the
of
phone
sense.
number. Yeah, the phone number thing was basically, it was like whatever your zone or district was. So it was, I'm guessing by like township type of a thing. So it'd be like, you know, like this was Trafalgar, and then it's a 4 or 5 digit number after that. So that's how they connected you.
I guess I didn't watch enough Andy Griffiths to know that shit or something.
That's okay. Enough 30s movies, but not that Nick would know about 30s movies.
I know. I've seen like one 30s movie.
Some. He blocked that
Exactly. So she calls up her mom or her family, and a woman answers, and I think it's Miss Whitney, because I think it's played by Eleanor Audley. And what's really cool about this is at first she's like, can I talk to my mom? At first I thought, oh, this is a different like phone number or whatever, it was wrong address or whatever. And we find out that her mom, Adam's mom, is in the hospital with a nervous breakdown, which is, I don't know. I've never had a nervous breakdown, so I don't know if you end up in the hospital for that. But what we find out is it's because of the death of her daughter. And I knew this was coming because I've seen this episode like a billion times. But what's really cool about it, and the thing that makes it kind of awesome, is you ever watch those episodes or watch those movies where did you ever watch, I don't know if I've asked you this, Jacob, have you ever watched Black Mirror?
Yeah, I love Black Mirror.
So you remember Playtest?
Yeah, the one with the guy goes for the virtual reality in the house and all that.
Yeah, Rupert Wyatt, the whatever from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Basically, when her tire blew and she basically, I don't know, rolled her car, that's when she's died. So the whole entire episode is just her in limbo, I think it is.
Yeah, basically.
And this hitchhiker is the personification of death. It's death trying to move her into the next realm or whatever it is. And I was thinking of Playtest. I was thinking of Sixth Sense because of how ingenious it is, because you have a guy she's afraid, you know, like we are in real life, you know, unless you're a sadist or something like that, you're afraid of dying because you don't know what's going to happen after it. But once that happens, once she finds out that she's dead, everything kind of calms her and she becomes kind of numb to the situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she gets in the car, and that's where the hitchhiker's at, and she drives off and she goes into whatever afterlife she goes into.
But I just like the fact that the whole episode is about paranoia, but it's also about, like I said, our fears of, what's coming next, and our fears of just, having to deal with situations that we don't know and what comes back, and, and that type of thing. So I don't know if you guys have any more on that, but that's why I like this episode so much, because it deals with like those types of scenarios and does it in a pretty ingenious way especially when you get to the ending, which maybe this episode wouldn't have worked without that ending. I'm not entirely sure, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, it's kind of a coming to terms with grief too at the end. Like I kind of, for some reason, and I it doesn't follow with the death thing, but like it made me think of The Others with Nicole Kidman. Like they fought and raged against everything, but then when they figured out what they were, they accepted. Yeah, it's acceptance. And even with situations, you can be scared shitless of a situation, but then when you're able to come to terms with what it is, it becomes easier to transition to that thing.
It's fun. You mentioned The Others. That's a good comparison. I thought I liked, like Nick said, about the her acceptance part where she said it was the numbness washed over or whatever. I like how it's almost like it's saying she kind of already knew, and sort of like The Sixth Sense does, like, oh, she knew she was dead, but then maybe like her brain was protecting her, whatever's going on after she died, but she got stuck in this purgatory where she doesn't think she's dead. But then when she finally gets to that point, maybe that's what the car ride was. She needed all that time to kind of mentally come to terms with it. And then when the universe decided, okay, we've put you through enough, you've had your time, now it's time for you to realize it and face it totally head on. That's when she made the phone call. She had it. And then when they say it, she freaks out for a minute, but then like instantly she's like, oh yeah. It's not so much a conscious recognition. It's more of a, yeah, I had this feeling. I knew this all along. Now everything just clicks together and makes sense. And I've gone through all this ordeal and I'm at peace with it. So I am now ready to move on to the afterlife because I'm at peace with the fact that that's where I belong.
And the voiceover that she puts in the episode actually fits this really well, because she's talking about her fears and all this stuff. And then as it goes along, it gets more panic, and then she starts having a little bit of voiceover at the end. And it kind of fits like her kind of mental state as she's going along. She's at a point where, for instance, Ghost, the Whoopi Goldberg, Patrick Swayze movie, he's killed, but he doesn't realize he's dead until he sees his body and stuff like that. And it's really interesting how like you guys said, acceptance and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Really good scene in Ghost, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. The way it's filmed
What's
and
that?
shot.
Yeah.
In Ghost, it's a really good scene, the way it's filmed and shot. Just real simple way it's shot, but it's just really well done. But anyway, yeah, I agree. I will say that this part, also the part where she made the phone call, that is kind of the sign of a good episode, even though I've already said this once, but I picked out what I'm pretty sure this is what's going on. That's what's going on. Even though I thought that the entire time it's throwing curveballs at you, and my gears are turning. I'm thinking, okay, wait, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Like when she called the mom, I was like, is it going to be a thing like the when the sky opened up and she doesn't exist now? Is it because she's dead? Has she been dead for like 10 years? Is it like that Supernatural episode with the chick on the road where she died years and years ago and she's just reliving that night now or something like that? So I thought that was really neat how, well, yeah, the show did give it away. If you're looking in the right place and you're expecting it, it still threw stuff your way to make it enjoyable. So you weren't just sitting there waiting for the inevitable end. You were still like, oh, wait, maybe it's something else. So that's some really good writing, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a simple story too. I mean, it's not the most complex of stories, but like we said before, they don't have to be complex stories. They just have to have a compelling through line, byline. It has to have compelling characters. And even though, if you look at the movie that Tom Hardy did, where he was just driving through the whole episode or a whole movie,
Lock,
thank you. There's nothing really there. It's just him talking on the phone. And this woman is just being chased by what is now, as we know, as death. And there's not really much to it, but like you start questioning, were the people that she was talking to people that she knew? Was the sailor dead? Was the mechanic dead? I mean,
but was she chasing death? It's interesting you say that. Was she, if we start really going into it, was she, well, I mean, was death chasing her, or was she chasing death? Because if you notice, she always runs up on him. She is always moving towards him. It's just when she sees him, every time she sees him, she's always moving towards him. She sees him, she gets scared and goes the other way or moves away or something, diverts. until the end when she finally does accept it. And then she's like, okay, I'll continue moving towards you now. So
Yeah.
death was her inevitable end. She was just too afraid. She wasn't ready for it. She was too afraid to continue going forward. So I don't think death was chasing her. I think she was moving towards it.
I think death was just, because
There.
death is always kind of always around.
Omnipresent.
So it was more of a he was waiting for her to come to terms.
Yeah, I got time. I've been doing this a while.
Exactly.
I like that
I got no
death
place
is
to
I like that death is just they always make him like a normal person because that's the most like easy way to perceive death is just as a normal person, not as a cloaked figure with a scythe and stuff like that. So I always thought that was interesting. But
who the fuck's gonna go to that guy?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he's either like some guy on the side of the road or Brad Pitt. You want to go to them.
Hey, there's a guy named Death here. He wants to talk about your was that Monty Python? He wants to talk about your
talk about your future.
Yeah, it was really funny. But he was like, he wants to talk about your reaping of your car or something like that.
The meaning of life.
But what's also kind of nice is like if you think about some of these characters in this episode are kind of giving her hints that she may possibly be dead. I mean, it just all depends.
Oh yeah, it's out the gate. I mean,
yeah,
first like
They're
2
called a
minutes.
hearse.
In. Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
So he says you should, instead of calling a mechanic, you should have called a hearse.
Yeah,
and just it's a lot of death like euphemisms throughout the entire thing.
Agreed.
I love these pauses that we have.
No, I was thinking I was like smelling a candle, but
We see flames in the background of Nick's.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's all
Oh,
covered
God,
up by the spiral background.
exactly. I'm not actually here. I'm actually deaf. You guys have both died.
Oh well, fuck.
I'm not ready.
At least you guys are fun.
Yeah. Except Jacob's the sailor and
Mm,
you're the mechanic. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm a different kind of sailor there, buddy. You getting fucked.
But
Squeal like a pig.
oh Jesus. Welcome to the Deliverance Hour.
This Twilight Zone episode just took a turn.
Not 60s approved.
But with that said, we'll head into the closing narration and I'll have Jacob read like the very quick narration.
Oh yeah, the real quick. It is actually quick. This one did have a fairly short one. Nan Adams, age 27. She was driving to California to Los Angeles. She didn't make it. There was a detour through the Twilight Zone. I love that. And I loved it when he said it. She's driving to California, Los Angeles. She didn't make it. Sometimes we were talking about him being a wordsmith a while ago. Sometimes he's just to the point, She was going. Didn't happen.
Yep. She tried, but nope, no dice. Her shoulders and the rest of her became pudding.
Exactly. Literally. Blood pudding.
Wow.
Oh man. So anyways, with that said, that's the end of the episode. So I gotta ask, we've already kind of talked a little bit about it. What's your overall take before we get into the Twilight Zone list? Overall thoughts. Do you have anything you want to add, or is there
I still
opinion?
wonder. I still wonder if we've talked a little bit about it, but was the mechanic dead? Were the other people she ran across dead? There's other shows and things where like someone is still able to interact with the living even though they're dead.
Well, she's in purgatory. My understanding of the way that
Could it be people that she knew?
people that do that thing know purgatory or think purgatory is an actual place and the
Right.
living are not there. So that would lead you to believe that all these people are either in on it and they know it, but they're dead too, or none of them know it. But she interacted with a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
And she called the lady. So was she dead? I don't know. But yeah, that was one of the things that really got me to thinking towards the end too is, I mean, were all these people she interacted with not really there? The guy at the gas station, I mean, in his house, he's like, it's late and I'm dead. Go away.
Or maybe they died around the same time and they just happened to interact that way. Like it put her on a road because you never see the road. Like you always just see like close-up shots of her driving or, faraway shots. Like the scenery doesn't change that much.
Yeah. Construction.
You think they haven't moved on because Dad's like, I'm only one man. I can only take one of you at a time. Be patient. I will be back.
You have all the rest of your death to live.
I'm going
Awesome.
on holiday next week. You
Yeah.
bastards.
Exactly.
I'm going to send Homer Simpson into you to finish you guys off. Anyways, anything else you guys wanted to talk about on it? Anything?
I don't think so.
Oh,
No?
good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. So with that said, we'll end the episode there. We go into the Twilight Zone ranking list. And the question I always ask, where is this? Is it better or worse than Escape Clause?
You always ask about the one I haven't watched yet, but I guess that's on me.
Well, that's
Well,
what
here,
you need to
let-
watch next.
I can.
Is it,
the next one would
God.
be "And When the Sky Was Opened,"
yeah, that's,
and I think
Is it
it
better than-
was better than that one. That one kept me guessing a little bit more because it wasn't as clear cut, but just narratively, this one was more enjoyable. It kept me engaged more. It didn't feel like it was 25 minutes. When the Sky Was Opened, it wasn't boring, but it was like it felt longer because there were some parts in it that had to be there that I was just kind of like, okay, move on, let's go. So I'd say it's at least above number 8.
so let me ask you this, Trev. Is it better than One for the Angels?
See, One for the Angels is like one of my top faves. So it's a very solid story, a very good story. And I'm kind of in the same boat with Jake. Like, I've seen this one so many times, but it's been forever since I've seen it. But I still, from the start, you kind of get the idea of what you're looking at. It's
Wait.
an intriguing story. I would put
Let
it
me-
good.
No, I was gonna say, let me ask you this. I was looking at between What You Need and Third from the Sun. Do you think it's more compelling than What You Need, or do you think it's
See, I think what you need is more compelling, but you've got more interaction. There's more. It's hard to compare the two because you're talking about, even though she interacts with other people, it's still largely a solo story.
yeah?
I think that I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, I was just gonna say I could see it going between like somewhere between like 4 and 6 for me. But
I think what you need for me, what you need was more compelling and had a lot more questions, and that epic car accident in the end,
yeah, that's
or
true.
car run over. But
What
all
if
that-
she was the one causing the car accident?
all that
She was the
being
one-
said, though?
That's why she crashed.
Yeah.
She's driving
All
through
the-
dimensions.
All that.
Oh my god, that'd be
it's
awesome.
No way. Twilight Zone home. No way. I don't know. We're working this into Spider-Man
Exactly.
somehow, which by this point we've already seen apparently. But anyway,
Yes. What a great movie where that one
we're gonna
thing happened to that
tell
person.
you all the
Oh, I know.
spoilers. It's all the Spider-Men are there.
Yeah.
You remember when
Spider-Man from Japanese Spider-Man's there.
Yeah. And Nicholas Hammond was there.
This is fucking Harrison Ford from Blade Runner's in it.
You remember when Spider-Man was like shoulders of pudding? It's so amazing.
Yeah, Chewbacca shows up in the end. It's fucking crazy. But anyway,
And he says, I'm going to
Dr.
punch a guy in the
Strangelove.
puss.
that's what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I thought that just dissecting everything that goes on in it, What You Need had a whole lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
But as far as like just watching an episode, pure enjoyment stance, I think this one was a little bit more enjoyable and just kind of like you said, it's a straightforward story,
Mhm.
and it's not as much like last week's had a good payoff, but like it felt like the whole thing, which they're all set up, but like the whole thing was set up, but it wasn't as interesting as setup, and then the payoff happens. It's like, oh, the payoff made it. I feel like this one, well, yes, without the payoff, it wouldn't have worked, but I was more invested in the setup leading up to the payoff. So I do think that this one, just from pure entertainment value, is more entertaining to me than What You Need. But the ones after that, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, I don't know. So as of from what I've seen, I would put it at number 5.
I think I'd,
Well, let me
I'd be
ask
good
you-
with. Oh, good.
Well, no. Let me ask you this: do you think it has a better payoff than Third from the Sun?
I haven't seen Third from the Sun. Have I? Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
Third from the Sun.
Yeah, that was the
That's
one
where
where-
they travel to Earth in
Yeah.
the.
That's where we talk about the miles, a million miles or whatever.
Yeah. Like they're on an Earth-like planet, but they get away because basically the whole
Okay.
world is going to hell.
No, because I really like sci-fi. I'm a sci-fi geek, and I like those kind of things where they twist it up, and we've been watching something we think, and then in the end we find out, oh, it's not. They're aliens we've been watching. I really like that kind of twist. So I did like the twist from Third from the Sun, but once again, I go back to everything that was leading up to the twist. I was more invested with here. I thought her monologue, even though it was mainly just her and Sailor Boy and just a couple other people, I was more invested in what was going on leading up to that. Now,
Right.
Third from the Sun, I was still invested in, but I was more invested in this one. So because of that, because they've both have good payoffs, even though I like the sci-fi payoff more, but that's more of a personal preference. Overall entertainment value, I do think that this one was more entertaining than Third from the Sun.
I'd have to agree with that.
So you think it's better? It's like not as good as What You Need, but better than Third from the Sun.
Yes.
I like it. Purely just watching an episode, I liked it more than What You Need. But I know that's a really weird way to look at shit. But
No, not at all.
I could sit
Not
here
at
and
all.
talk about What You Need probably twice as long as this one. But just sitting down and watching it and having a good time, I think that this one's more. It's better. What You Need had a couple of moments there in the middle that were shaky.
Squishy.
Yeah, they were like
They were
"Oh."
shoulders of pudding.
Yeah, very, very pudding shoulders in the middle. Just for like, I mean, it's a 25-minute episode. So for like 3 or 4 minutes, it was just kind of, what's okay. We're back on track. We're good. So that doesn't matter. This one was pretty solid throughout. It was very focused. And I like that. It didn't really have much of in the way of shortcomings, even though it wasn't as deep as some of those other ones. I think that as far as like things to talk about and dissect, I just thought it was a more solid episode overall. So for me, based on what I've seen on this list that we have, I would put it at 5 above What You Need.
See, I kind of agree with that because I like Third from the Sun. I like What You Need, but the Hitchhiker just holds a weird place in my love for the Twilight Zone. And it's just on its simple premise alone. And the idea that it can do something so unique, but be so it's why it's shown on January 1st or New Year's. I keep going back to New Year's Day, but it's why it's shown so early on New Year's Day is because it has like you don't have to think about the episode. You just kind of go with it. And What You Need, you have that like dickish character, and he gets to come up and spy when he gets hit by the woman from Nan Adams. But I mean, I have to kind of. It's such an entertaining episode. There's something interesting. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that there's so many characters in What You Need. It takes time to warm up to them, even the ones you don't like, to get to know them, and you get to know them by the end, and that's great. But this one, it was very they got you invested in her and getting to know her very quickly. Like you didn't need 10 minutes to get to know this character and then like move on from there. You like pretty much knew what you needed to know for this episode about her, and were invested in her, what she's doing pretty much off the bat.
What do you think, Trev?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that makes sense. It's a straightforward episode. She's a great character. She's compelling from the start. I think Jake made a good point with that. So
now I'll tell you this much: when we get a few episodes in, I think it's season 2, we get to the Invaders. I'm gonna number 1. Number 1.
Well, we'll talk about.
Don't you think it was more compelling? Number 1.
I can't wait till we talk about
fucking
Monsters
hill.
Are Doing Maple Street. That's
I
gonna be
remember that name. When I see that one, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember this. That name is so familiar to me.
Yeah, it's probably the most famous episode from Twilight Zone. Like I was actually, before we end, I was actually shocked we talked like that the Invaders is so beloved, because I never thought that was an episode that I never thought that was an episode that everybody loved, but
I didn't either. I never hear anybody talk about it.
I've heard like 16 people talk about it since.
I've loved it for years, but apparently it's really popular. And it wasn't until I joined this show that I saw people talking, mention of it when I was looking up stuff for these episodes. I was like, oh, there's other people that like it too. That makes me feel like it's not as special now. I liked it when I was the only one that talked about it.
But
with that said,
movies.
Yeah, exactly. You find the diamonds in the rough, I guess.
Yeah, and then you find a whole community of people that also know about that thing that you thought that you found that was special.
I can say that I liked it before all those other people.
Exactly.
Even though I've only liked it since about the 90s, and it came out in the 60s. I'm sure nobody liked it before the 90s.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
So with that said, Hitchhiker is gonna hang out at number 5, new number 5. Number 1 still walking distance. Number 16 is the episode we will never talk about again. The 4 of us are dying.
They keep mentioning it though.
I know.
That one.
I keep bringing it up. Sore subject.
I can say I still have not finished 16 millimeter Shrine, but the divide between number 15 and 16 right now, 16 millimeter Shrine and The Four of Us Are Dying, is so big compared to like these. We're sitting here discussing what's the best out of the top 5. These are all great episodes. What's the best? And even when you go down further, I haven't seen all these, but like some of them I have seen. And I'm like, well, these are, I could see us talking about how number 12 and 13, which one's, up one, down one, what's good. It was, when we watched that one, it was like, before we got on there, I was like, yep, this is at the bottom. I've always stood firm to there are no bad Twilight episodes or Twilight Zone episodes. There are that one.
Wait till we talk about the Mighty Casey or whatever that episode is.
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
man.
Is that the baseball player one?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
I
With Jack
vaguely
Ward.
remember- I vaguely remember something about that. And I think I remember it because it wasn't good, but we'll see if it's worse than The Four of Us Are Dying.
That's gonna be interesting. So speaking of not great episodes, we go from a really good episode to season 1, episode 17, which is called The Fever. This is a gambling episode, which I'm not a big fan of. It's really
Is
bad.
this the one with Shatner?
No,
No,
that's
no.
3,000 feet. in the air.
No, but he was in several. This was
Oh.
one where like they sit down in a like a cafe and there's a little fortune telling machine.
No, that's like I can't remember what it's called. That's not this one.
Okay.
That's a really good episode. So
It's an excellent episode.
Yeah.
I'm also with this one we just watched. I said I was a sci-fi nerd and I'm a sucker for sci-fi. I'm also a sucker for single location stories, which this one is kind of like that. So anytime we got one that takes place in kind of sort of or just one single place, I always think those are really neat stories. So I'll gravitate towards those.
Well, this isn't the worst episode ever, but it's just not very compelling to me personally. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. So
Could be an interesting one next week then.
Yeah.
exactly. But with that said, that'll do it. That'll be our take on season 1, episode 16, The Hitchhiker. Once again, thank you, Triv and Jacob, for joining me as well. Once again, it's fun to talk about this. We go on tangents. That's what I love about it. So with that said, Jacob, if they want to find your pudding, where can they find it?
You can find my pudding pops at YouTube, Jacob Andrews Reviews. That's where I talk about my pudding pops on a daily basis for the most part. And I review movies and stuff, and movies you've seen and a whole lot you haven't seen and a whole lot you shouldn't see. And you can also find me on Twitter at RedNeville2. And that's about it because I'm too lazy to go to other social medias. Check it out. Like and subscribe.
Click on that Patreon. Get your what's
yeah.
that bad
A
motherfucker?
bad motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Join my Patreon where I have 4 tiers. My top tier. You can join the top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C. and Dragon Khan.
Love it. Oh man. And
Or tier
Triv,
one.
if they want to and Triv, if the sailors want to come find you, where can they reach you at?
Well, my pudding brings all the boys to the yard over at my YouTube channel, which is Trivial Theater here on YouTube. You can also find me at trivia_chick on Twitter.
Damn right. It's better than yours.
It says you.
And of course, Jacob puts a video out every day, he's a crazy man. And Tripp just put out her awesome video on feeders too, I think it was.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out because it's a hilarious and awesome and crazy video. So but with that said, you can reach me at Movie Emporium. I do all my videos there. Come watch me talk about reviews and all that garbage. And also we're audio podcast as well. You can find us on Apple, iTunes, and Google Play and all that good stuff. Otherwise, that'll do it. And we'll see you hopefully maybe next week after Christmas. Maybe not. We'll figure it out. So anyways, we'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace, love, chicken grease.
Yep.
Yes, sure.
I think we're already recording.
Yeah, we've been recording this whole time.
All right.
Go ahead and mark
I'm
this
gonna
spot because
be able
we're
to
gonna
listen
cut
to
it.
what you guys said when I left. It's like that's
Oh,
so good
shit.
for taking over the
God.
podcast.
Damn it.
I'll laugh and then I'll like post a video of you guys, and then you guys are like, "What the fuck is that? Why am I superimposed?"
Oh, yeah. I was like, why am I superimposed over the show?